shall be reading from another short section from our book. And thank you for asking, Auntie. My family is doing well. We will be reading from In Love at Ease. This is a wonderful book written by a Yogi Trivedi, who was a devotee of this spiritual guru, Pramukh Swami Maharaj. And we address how he was really in love at ease with everything. I think I could learn a lot from this guy, and I hope you can too. Right now we are starting the third chapter called I-less. I is in ego. I-less has been having no or minimal ego. A bold identity with an I. Where the conversation begins. Even the great Sanskrit and English poets, Kalidasa and Shakespeare, would have been at a loss for words to describe the view. The pinks, the purples, yellow ochres, and golden blossoms bursting forth from the canvas of green hills. Monsoon views of the Valley of Flowers in the Chamoli district of Uttarakhand have left many searching for words, and I was no different. Just a short drive and trek from the Hindu pilgrimage town of Joshimath, and an even shorter trek from the town of Govindghat, close to the renowned Gurudwara Hemkund Sahibji. The valley brings together visitors and pilgrims from all over the country. It is a popular destination for first-time trekkers in the Himalayas because of its beauty and ease of access. I started on that trek one morning for the same reasons. I left the hotel of a group of international hikers wanting to gaze at the flowers and streams, but I ended up hiking with an ascetic searching for a holistic version of himself. We first interacted after the middle-aged ascetic heard me humming a rainy season raga just as it started to drizzle. "You sing well, but I recommend you hold off on inviting the rains with your monsoon melodies. It won't be fun walking through the valley if it is pouring." He piqued my curiosity. From his English, I could not tell if he was from India or abroad. From his Hindi, I could not tell if he was from a specific region of the nation. From his confidence, I could not tell if he was a former executive or wandering recluse, or if he was on a journey of becoming I-less. We exchanged pleasantries. I soon realized that he not only knew his ragas, but was also fluent in several languages, including Hindi, Urdu, Bengali, Persian, Arabic, Punjabi, English, and Sanskrit. He effortlessly contested Western economic and political systems and Hindu schools of theology. And it was here that our debate picked up pace and intensity. We discussed Advaita, non-dualism, and Advaita, dualistic modes of thinking about creation and divinity. All through the argument, I kept looking for markers that would point to who he was, what he did, how he identified, what he believed, and why he thought the way he did. I was trying to label him and categorize his various markers based on his outward identity. As we approached the valley, the ascetic kept countering my arguments. I knew that I had to go for the jugular argument against non-duality. He would not have a strong response. No Hindu theologian has answered the question successfully over the last 1,000 years, not even the dualists and qualified non-dualists who raised the question in the first place. We approached the valley as I was framing the argument in dramatic fashion. I expected him to laugh, lose his otherwise relaxed temperament, or change the topic in response. The foot of the valley would provide the perfect backdrop for my staged final reasoning. The modern-day ascetic, with his salt and pepper beard and tuft rudraksha beads, which are stone fruit seeds used for ritual and prayers by Hindus, Buddhists, and Sikhs alike. I have some next to me, I can show you. These are some very small rudraksha beads. They're usually to do meditation on Shaivite mantras, often popular within the Advaitin tradition. They're seed stones, which means they're seeds, but they become stone-like after they harden. He had those around his neck, a tennis windbreaker covering his saffron and black robes, and all sorts of Christian, Sikh, and Islamic imagery in ink on his skin and etched into amulets. Gently grabbed my hand. Boy, this is where the conversation begins. You have been trying to place me in a box since the minute we met. Am I a Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, or Christian? Do I believe at all? Am I a musician or a theologian? Was I born and raised in the West or in India? Am I an ascetic or a drifter of sorts? Am I a Marxist or a capitalist? Am I a dualist or a non-dualist? You have been trying to read and tag my identity for the last 15 kilometers, while I have been trying to lose that I for over the last 15 years. Minimizing the me, myself, and mine from who I am, replacing the I with a lowercase I. It is my spiritual journey, and after traveling thousands of kilometers in these sacred mountains, sometimes I find myself standing right where I started. This conversation does not end with how I should be identified, what you know, or who won this debate. It begins here. It ends with how we can move past these perceived identities and the sense of existence and arrogance that they bring. Identity always carries the weight of arrogance. It is that ego that I want to leave behind in the valley, once and for all. We sat on a rock at the head of the valley in silence. It certainly was not how I expected to take in the colors of the valley. I am not sure what he was looking at, but I looked out at the flowers swaying in the Himalayan winds, each with a powerful individual presence, yet bound by their collective sense of appeal. They were just flowers, but each one added significant value to the valley's brilliance. Each contributed to the beauty that we had trekked all this way to appreciate. There was a portion of their identity they had claimed. And another they had forsaken. There was a sense of pride, of individuality, coupled with a sense of humility, brought on by being part of a larger whole. These flowers were confident and at once humble, and they impressed me for that reason. The ascetic's journey, which he considered incomplete, sparked a desire in me to experience that weightless, lowercase I. It was the definitive leg of the spiritual journey, the final peak to scale. It was a journey that I had, up until now, willfully disregarded, for it was a trek much harder than that morning's hike in the Himalayan range. There are virtues we seek, and there are those we are content reading and speaking about, for they seem humanly attainable, unattainable, even unnecessary. Learning to love seems doable and useful. It is a popular lesson among those treading the spiritual path. Learning to realign one's identity, to master humility, tolerance, patience, and even obsequious servitude seems near impossible. To be eyeless is to forsake all the pomp and appreciation that accompanies one's sense of being and existence, one's ego. And so, let us pause our reading of the beginning of the 3rd chapter of In Love at Ease. Thank you for listening.